The deep silence of space surrounded the lonely station. Metal walls hummed with weak power. Lights flickered like tired stars. Only one human worked inside, a young engineer named Daniel. He had chosen the night shift because no one else wanted it. The station was old, forgotten, left at the edge of the galaxy where almost nothing ever happened. To Daniel, it was both a prison and a home. He passed his hours fixing broken pipes, checking wires, and listening to the endless quiet. He thought this night would be the same, long and empty, but fate had a secret waiting for him. The first sign was a sound. It was small, almost nothing, yet it made Daniel freeze. It was a knock, soft and steady, coming from the outer hatch. Daniel stared at the door, confused. No one could knock in space. No one could survive outside without a suit. He told himself it was just the old station playing tricks. Maybe a loose metal plate, maybe the echo of machinery. But then the knock came again, stronger, louder, like a plea. Daniel's heart began to race. Protocol was clear. If there was an unknown signal or sound, the crew must wait and call the main authority. But Daniel was alone and the comms were half broken as usual. Besides, curiosity pushed him forward. Against fear, against reason, he walked to the airlock. Each step echoed in the empty corridor. He reached the hatch, placed his hand on the cold metal. The knock came one more time, weak, fading. Someone or something was asking to be let in. Daniel unlocked the safety seals. The doors hissed heavy and slow. Air rushed as the lock cycled. When the inner hatch opened, Daniel saw a figure collapse onto the floor. It was not human. It was tall, thin, with skin like silver stone, cracked with deep lines. Its breathing was shallow, its eyes dim like dying stars. Daniel dropped to his knees, shock freezing him for a moment. He had seen alien travelers before, but never this close and never one in such a state. The alien elder lay trembling, its hands clawing weakly at the ground. Daniel could see the pain written across its strange face. Its body armor was broken, wires sparking, fluids dripping. This was no enemy soldier, no spy. This was a being at the edge of death. Daniel felt something stir inside him. It was not fear, not anger, it was compassion. A human instinct older than laws, older than the galaxy itself. He touched the elder's shoulder carefully. The alien flinched, then slowly turned its gaze toward him. Its voice came out in a broken whisper, words Daniel did not understand at first. But the meaning was clear. It was asking for help for a second. Daniel thought about the rules. He knew the Galactic Council had strict laws about interfering with alien lives. Humans were still new among the stars, often judged as reckless if he helped. He might break laws he barely understood. If he refused, the elder would die at his feet. The choice should have been hard. But it wasn't. Daniel felt his hands moving, lifting the alien, carrying it into the station. The elder was surprisingly light, as if hollow bones held its tall frame. Daniel placed it gently on a repair bench. The station lights flickered above them. Casting long shadows, the alien tried to speak again. This time, Daniel caught fragments, broken but clear enough. Organ. Failing. Life ending. Forbidden. The last word struck him. Forbidden. Daniel did not understand everything, but he understood the most important part. This elder was dying, and somewhere in the galaxy, a law existed that said he must do nothing, but how could he? How could he turn away when life begged before him? He looked at the alien's trembling hands. He looked into its tired, endless eyes, and in that moment a decision formed. One that would change not just his life, but the fate of all humanity. The station was quiet again, but the silence was no longer empty. It was heavy, filled with a secret only Daniel now carried. He had opened the hatch, broken the rules, and welcomed a stranger. The galaxy would never forgive such an act. But Daniel did not think of that now. He thought only of the dying elder before him, and the impossible task that had just begun. The alien elder lay weak on the repair bench. Its body shivering with every breath. Daniel stood over it, his hands shaking, his mind racing. He had never seen a living creature suffer in such silence. The elder's chest rose and fell unevenly, sometimes pausing so long Daniel feared it had stopped. Every instinct in him said to act, but he did not know how. This was not a machine he could fix with a tool. This was life, fragile and unknown. Daniel searched the shelves, pulling out scanners, medical kits, and broken devices. Most of the station's equipment was outdated. Almost useless still, he powered up a handheld scanner, hoping it could read something. Anything. The screen flickered, then showed strange symbols. He didn't understand the alien language, but one image stood out. It was a red outline around the alien's chest, pulsing fast, flashing a warning. Something inside was failing, something vital. Daniel whispered to himself, "The organ. It's dying." The elder opened its eyes slightly. Its voice was low, rough like stone cracking. "Human, you cannot," it said before coughing violently. Daniel grabbed a cloth, pressing it against the elder's mouth. Dark fluid stained it, glowing faintly in the dim light. "Please, let me help you," Daniel said softly. Even though he was not sure the elder could understand, the alien's eyes burned with fear, but also with a strange kind of respect. "Forbidden? No one must interfere," it gasped. Then it collapsed again, breathing raggedly. Daniel felt his chest tighten, so this was the truth. There was a law in the galaxy that forbade anyone from helping a dying alien. A cruel rule dressed as order. Daniel tried to imagine how many lives had been lost because of it. How many elders had been left to fade away in silence. It made his blood boil. "Not me," he whispered. "I will not stand by." He studied the alien's body more closely. The skin was cracked like dried earth. Glowing veins ran like rivers under the surface. The chest cavity pulsed weakly, a soft light fading with every moment. Daniel guessed this was their heart, or something close to it, but unlike a human heart. It was surrounded by thin plates like living armor. He placed the scanner over it again. This time, he noticed the pulsing light was dimming faster. Time was running out. The elder stirred again, opening its mouth as if to speak. But instead of words, a faint melody escaped. It was not sound exactly, it was vibration. Echoing inside Daniel's head, for a moment he saw images. A village under alien skies. Children playing around an elder who watched with wisdom. Then darkness, then loneliness. Daniel staggered back, realizing the elder had shared a piece of its memory. The message was clear. This life still had meaning, still had bonds. It was not just a body dying, it was a soul waiting for hope. Daniel clenched his fists. He thought of Earth, of his own grandfather lying sick in a hospital bed years ago. He remembered the doctors rushing, the machines keeping him alive. He remembered the feeling of helplessness. He could not let another elder die the same way, not when he had even the smallest chance. So he made a promise. "I don't care about your law. I don't care about the council. I will not let you die here," but doubt still gnawed at him. What could a single human do? He was no doctor, no scientist, only an engineer. He fixed broken pipes, repaired power lines, cleaned filters. How could he heal a dying alien heart? Then a thought sparked. Machines. If a machine could clean air, repair wires, or replace lost parts, why not build something to keep the elder alive? Not a cure, but a chance. He rushed to his storage unit, pulling out metal scraps, filters, old oxygen tubes, and even parts of his own breathing mask. Piece by piece, an idea began to form. If the elder's organ was failing, maybe he could make a support, a device to help it breathe, to push life into it until it recovered, or at least until he could build something stronger. The plan was wild, desperate, maybe even impossible, but it was all he had. Behind him, the elder tried to move, its voice weak but clear enough to stop Daniel's hands. "You risk all for me," it said. Daniel turned and smiled sadly. "I'm human." "It's what we do," he replied. The elder closed its eyes, tears shining like silver drops. No one had ever defied the law for it before. No one had cared enough. Daniel set to work, his tools sparking in the dim light. The station hummed as if watching, waiting. Every screw he turned felt heavier than the last. Every wire he connected felt like a step deeper into danger. He was not just building a machine, he was building defiance. Defiance against a galaxy that valued law over life. Defiance born from human kindness. As he worked, he glanced at the elder again. It lay still, breathing shallow, but its eyes followed him. In those eyes, Daniel saw something powerful. Not just hope, but belief. The elder believed in him, and that belief was enough to keep Daniel moving, even as he knew the risk grew with every second. If the council ever learned of this, punishment would be certain, but for now, all that mattered was the hidden pain before him, and the chance to heal it. The station was quiet, but Daniel's mind was not. His tools clattered as he worked, sparks jumping from old wires. The alien elder lay on the bench, still breathing, but weaker with each passing moment. Every sound of the elder's struggling lungs reminded Daniel of the weight of his choice. He knew now that what he was doing was forbidden, The Galactic Council had rules that no one could break, and he was about to break them all. He paused for a moment. Staring at his hands, they were dirty, covered in oil and dust. The hands of a mechanic, not a healer. He thought about what might happen if anyone found out. Would they drag him away? Lock him in a prison cell? Would Earth itself be punished for his single act of kindness? The fear pressed down on him like a heavy chain. But then he looked at the alien again. The Elder's eyes flickered open, glowing faintly with pain, and Daniel remembered why he had chosen this path, law or no law. He whispered, "Life comes first." The Elder tried to speak. Its voice was soft, almost a breath. "You must not help." "Forbidden," it said. Daniel shook his head, his voice steady now. "Maybe for you, maybe for others, but not for me." The alien's eyes widened slightly as if surprised by such defiance. In its world and its people, the law was unshakable. But here stood a human who dared to say no, a human who chose heart over rules. Daniel returned to his work. He began sketching rough diagrams on a metal panel, an artificial organ, a replacement, a way to cheat death. It sounded insane even to him. But humans were known for the impossible. They built machines out of junk, hope out of nothing. If no one else in the galaxy had dared to try, then he would, as he worked. The weight of history pressed against him. He thought of the first explorers from Earth who sailed across unknown seas. They too had broken rules, ignored warnings, and chased horizons others feared. Humanity had always moved forward by refusing to obey the limits others set. Daniel felt the same spirit burning inside him now. This was not only about saving the Elder. This was about proving that compassion was stronger than law. But doubt whispered in his ear. What if the device failed? What if his attempt only caused more suffering? Would the Council see him as a murderer instead of a savior? He gritted his teeth, pushing the thoughts away. He could not allow fear to guide his hands. The Elder's life was slipping away, and hesitation was a luxury he did not have. Hours passed, though Daniel did not notice. His workbench became a battlefield of wires, tubes, and glowing crystals scavenged from the station's power cells. He cut pieces from his own breathing mask, reshaped metal plates, and fused them together. The design was crude, fragile, but it pulsed with possibility. It was not perfect, but it was alive with human creativity. At one point, the Elder stirred again, its voice stronger but filled with warning. "You do not understand. If they find you, they will end you." Daniel looked at the alien, his face calm, his voice steady. "Then let them come, but I will not let you die here." The Elder closed its eyes, and for the first time its breathing eased just slightly, as if it trusted him, as if it finally believed. The station's sensors beeped in the background. A faint signal, distant but approaching. Daniel frowned, checking the screen. A ship was on its way, moving slowly but surely toward the station. He did not know if it was rescue or punishment, but he knew he had less time than he thought. He bent back over his work, faster now, every second precious. The device began to take shape. A small container that could pump energy like a second heart. Tubes that could carry oxygen. Wires that could sync with alien pulses. It was part machine, part miracle. Daniel stared at it, sweat running down his face. This might actually work, he whispered. But as he held it in his hands, fear struck him again. This was the moment of truth. Once he attached it, there would be no turning back if it failed. The Elder might die instantly if it succeeded. The Council would soon come for answers. He looked down at the Elder, who seemed half asleep, whispering words in its strange tongue. Daniel didn't know what those words meant, but he felt the weight of trust inside them. His heart pounded. Every voice in his head screamed at him to stop, to follow the law, to wait for someone else, to run, but another voice, the one that mattered, told him only one thing: do what is right, not what is safe. Daniel placed the device near the Elder's chest. His hands shook, but his will was firm. The law said no, but his humanity said yes, and in that moment, Daniel knew there was no going back. He was no longer just an engineer on a lonely station. He was a human standing against the weight of the galaxy, and his act of defiance was about to change everything. Daniel stared at the strange device in his hands. It was crude, unfinished, and dangerous, but it was also his only hope. The Elder's chest rose and fell in shallow gasps. Each weaker than the last, time was running out. Daniel wiped the sweat from his forehead, his heart pounding like a hammer. He had built machines before, but never one meant to keep someone alive. This was no repair job, this was a gamble with fate itself. The station lights flickered as if watching. Daniel placed the device on the workbench and began adjusting the tubes. He whispered to himself, it must connect to the breathing system. It must carry the flow. Like lungs, he cut small wires, twisting them with trembling fingers. Each spark that flew made him flinch, but he pressed on. Failure was not an option. The elder opened its eyes briefly. Its voice was a weak whisper. Human. Why, risk for me? Daniel paused, looking down at the fragile being before him. Because you're alive, and because no law will ever tell me to let someone die, he replied. The elder blinked slowly, and for a moment, a tear of silver light slid down its cheek. It was a strange sight, an alien crying, but it was filled with quiet dignity. Daniel felt his chest tighten, his resolve harden. He would not stop. Not now. Piece by piece, the machine began to form. It looked like a small metal chest with glowing tubes running through it. A pump from the oxygen tank, a filter from the water purifier, and wires from the comm system all fused into one strange body. Daniel bent metal plates into shape, welding them until his arms ached. The machine hissed and rattled. Not pretty, not perfect, but alive, it was a human creation. Messy, desperate, but made with heart. Daniel tested it once, connecting it to his own breathing mask. The device hummed, air flowing in sharp bursts. It almost knocked the mask off his face, but it worked. Relief washed over him, though it lasted only seconds. Now came the hardest part, connecting it to the elder. He pulled the bench closer to the main lights. The elder's chest glowed faintly with the dim light of its failing organ. The scanner beeped warnings Daniel could not read, but he knew enough. If he did nothing, the light would fade completely. He took a deep breath. This is it, he whispered. He set the device beside the elder. The tubes shook in his hands as he placed them against the alien's chest. The skin felt cool, almost stone-like, but soft where the veins glowed. He found a crack near the failing organ and carefully slid the tubes in place. The elder gasped, its body jerking slightly. Daniel froze, panic shooting through him. But then the alien's eyes opened, faint but steady. Continue. Trust. It breathed. Daniel nodded. He secured the wires, locking them around the glowing veins. The machine hissed as energy surged through it. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the tubes lit up, pulsing faintly. The elder shuddered. Its breathing ragged. Daniel leaned closer, adjusting the flow. Come on, don't give up on me, he said. The lights on the device flickered, stabilizing. The glow in the elder's chest brightened slightly. Its breathing grew deeper, fuller. Daniel felt tears sting his own eyes. It was working, not perfectly, not safely, but it was keeping the elder alive. He let out a shaky laugh, relief mixing with exhaustion. You're not going anywhere tonight, he whispered. The elder turned its head slowly, its voice still weak but clearer. You create life. With scrap? With nothing, it said. Daniel shook his head. Not life, just a chance, but sometimes a chance is enough. The elder stared at him, and for the first time, a faint smile crossed its cracked lips. It was not a human smile, but it carried the same meaning, gratitude. The moment was cut short by the station alarm. A warning flashed across the screen. The ship Daniel had seen earlier was now closer. Its signal stronger, its engines hot, whoever it was. They would be here soon. Daniel's relief turned to dread. If the council found him with this device, if they saw what he had done, there would be no mercy. He looked back at the elder. The alien seemed to sense the danger. Its eyes darkened, its voice heavy with warning. They will punish you. They will not forgive. Daniel clenched his fists, his jaw tight. Let them try, he said firmly. I won't regret this, not ever. The device hummed steadily now, each pulse matching the elder's slow breaths. The station air felt different, heavier, as if the walls themselves knew what had just happened. Daniel had crossed a line, one that could never be uncrossed. He had built a solution not just for a dying elder, but for a law that had chained the galaxy for centuries. A human solution, simple, imperfect, born of defiance and kindness. The kind of solution no law could ever understand. Daniel sat back, exhausted, staring at the elder who now breathed easier. In that quiet moment, he realized something deeper. He was no longer just saving one life. He was opening a door the galaxy had long kept locked, and when that door opened fully, nothing would ever be the same. The machine was ready, But Daniel knew this was only the beginning. The crude device he had built could pump air and energy, but to truly save the Elder, he had to connect it deeper. This was no longer just a patch or a bandage. This was an operation, and Daniel was no surgeon. The Elder lay still, its glowing chest rising slowly. The tubes hummed faintly, keeping the fragile breath alive. But Daniel could see the light dimming again. The temporary fix was not enough. He needed to take the risk. He needed to attach the machine directly inside the Elder's body. One wrong move and it could mean death. His hands trembled as he prepared the tools. Old cutters, a welding torch, even a soldering iron meant for wires. They were not medical instruments, but they were all he had. He sterilized them with heat, whispering to himself, "Please, don't let me fail." The Elder opened its eyes weakly. Its gaze met his, heavy with fear but also trust. "You are no healer," it whispered. Daniel nodded, his voice soft but firm. "No, I'm not, but I am human. And humans try even when they are not ready." The Elder let out a faint sound, half laugh, half cough. Then it closed its eyes again, surrendering to him. The station lights dimmed as power shifted to the machine. The silence was broken only by Daniel's quick breaths and the faint hum of the pump. He placed his hand over the alien's chest. He could feel the failing organ beneath the surface, pulsing weakly like a fading star. With trembling resolve, he made the first cut. The alien's body shuddered, a faint glow spilling from the wound. Daniel gasped at the sight. Instead of blood, a thin liquid of silver light flowed, shimmering across his gloves. It was beautiful and terrifying. He fought the urge to stop, forcing his hands to move. "Don't think, just work," he whispered to himself. He opened the chamber slowly, revealing the failing organ. It was unlike anything he had imagined, not a heart, not lungs, but a glowing crystal-like structure surrounded by living veins. It flickered weakly, each dim pulse like the last candle before darkness. Daniel's throat tightened. This was it, the place where life itself was breaking. And it was now in his hands. He lifted the device, aligning its tubes with the glowing veins. Sweat dripped into his eyes, blurring his vision. He blinked hard, focusing. One wrong connection could overload the organ, destroying it instantly. His fingers shook, but he steadied them against the metal plate. "Steady, Daniel, steady," he muttered. The first tube connected. The machine hissed, a soft pulse running through the alien's body. The Elder gasped, its chest jerking violently. Daniel froze, fear striking him. But then the alien's breathing settled, just slightly. It was working. At least for now. He connected the second tube, then the third. Each time the alien's body reacted, twitching, glowing, gasping. Daniel adjusted the flow, moving faster now, his hands a blur of wires and clamps. The machine and the alien began to sync, their pulses aligning. It was as if the crude human device was learning the rhythm of the Elder's body. But then alarms rang. The station sensors screamed. An incoming ship was only minutes away. Daniel cursed under his breath, panic racing through him. If they arrived now, they would see everything. He had no time left. He had to finish before they docked. He forced his focus back, ignoring the alarm. The final wire trembled in his hand. It was the most dangerous connection, the one that would either save or kill. His hands hovered over the glowing core. "Please hold on," he whispered. He pressed the wire into place. The machine roared, lights blazing. The alien's body arched, a cry echoing through the station. Daniel nearly ripped the wire out, terrified he had gone too far. But then it happened. The glow in the Elder's chest stabilized. The flicker became steady, strong, alive. The machine's rhythm synced perfectly. The Elder's breathing deepened for the first time. Daniel saw real strength return to the alien's eyes. It looked at him, its gaze filled with something beyond gratitude, something close to awe. "You gave me back life," it said, voice trembling but clear. Daniel let out a shaky laugh, his hands finally lowering. "No, you held on. I just gave you the chance, but the victory was short." The alarms grew louder, the ship outside now locking onto the docking bay. Daniel's relief turned to dread. He looked at the Elder, who understood without words. "They will not forgive this," the alien said, its voice steady now. Daniel clenched his fists. "Then let them come," he replied. "I will not regret saving you." The Elder's glowing veins pulsed stronger with each breath. The machine hummed beside it, alive with human defiance. Daniel stood tall, exhausted but unbroken. He had done the impossible, performed an operation that no one else dared attempt. But now the real battle was about to begin. Not against death, but against the laws of the galaxy. The hum of the machine echoed through the station. Steady and alive, the Elder's chest rose and fell with new strength. Its silver glow brighter than before, Daniel allowed himself one deep breath of relief. But it was cut short by the heavy sound of metal grinding. The docking bay doors had opened. They were here. The station shook as the ship latched onto it. Daniel's heart pounded in his chest. He turned to the Elder, who now sat up slowly, its body trembling but stronger than before. "They are coming for me." "And for you," the alien said. Its voice was firmer now, carried by the power of the device Daniel had created. Daniel clenched his fists, his jaw tight. "Then let them come," he replied. The outer door hissed open, and the air filled with the sound of boots striking metal. Figures entered, tall and armored, their suits marked with the insignia of the Galactic Council. Their helmets shone under the flickering lights, their eyes hidden behind black visors. Daniel had never seen them up close before. They looked less like peacekeepers and more like executioners. One stepped forward, his voice cold, sharp, human. "Step away from the creature." Daniel did not move. His body blocked the Elder, his hands spread wide. The armored figure continued. "You have interfered with the natural law. You have broken the oldest rule of the Council. And for this, there is only punishment." His words struck Daniel like ice, but he stood firm. "I saved a life," Daniel said, his voice steady. "Call it what you want, but I will not apologize." The soldiers raised their weapons, glowing rods of light humming in the air. The Elder lifted a hand weakly, trying to speak, but the leader shouted over it. "Silence, Ancient One, you know the law. Your kind must return to the cycle, no interference, no defiance." The Elder's eyes burned with anger, but its body still trembled from weakness. Daniel stepped closer, placing himself between the weapons and the alien. "You'll have to go through me first," he said. The leader tilted his helmet, his voice filled with contempt. "You are only human, a young species with no right to challenge the Council. You think your defiance means anything?" Daniel's heart thundered, but he refused to step back. "Yes," he said simply, "because compassion means something, because kindness means something, because I will not let someone die just because you wrote it into law." For a moment, the soldiers froze. They had expected fear, begging, surrender, but instead they found a lone human daring to stand against the weight of the galaxy. The silence broke as the Elder rose shakily to its feet. The machine strapped to its chest pulsed with light. Its voice carried through the room, strong despite the tremor. "No, human is not only human," it said. "He is more than any of you." The soldiers lowered their weapons slightly, shock rippling through their formation. The Elder stepped forward, every word like thunder. "This human gave me life when your law demanded death. He saw value where you saw rules. He saw compassion where you saw chains." Its silver eyes glowed brighter, its voice rising. "And I am not just an Elder, I am a voice of my people. I am their memory, their leader, and I declare this act is not crime, but honor." The Council soldiers looked at one another. Uncertain, never had an Elder spoken in such defiance. Never had one called a human greater than law. The leader's voice faltered for the first time. "You cannot. This is against the Council. Against order." The Elder raised its hand, glowing veins sparking with power. "Then perhaps your order is broken," it said. Daniel stood silent, his chest heaving. He had not expected the Elder to reveal its true identity. A leader, a figure of respect among its kind. But now the truth filled the room like fire. The Council could not ignore such words, not when they came from a voice of authority. Daniel realized he was no longer fighting alone. The Elder was standing with him. The leader of the soldiers hesitated. His visor turned toward Daniel, then toward the Elder. The silence stretched. Heavy as stone, finally he lowered his weapon. His voice was tight with frustration. "This will not be forgotten, human. The Council does not forgive rebellion. Your name will be remembered. Your act will be judged." He turned to the others. "Stand down," he commanded. The soldiers obeyed, stepping back. Their boots echoed as they retreated into the shadows of the docking bay. The leader gave Daniel one last cold stare, then vanished through the door. The sound of the ship undocking filled the station, and then they were gone. Daniel let out a breath he did not know he had been holding. His body trembled from exhaustion, but his heart blazed with fire. He turned to the Elder, who now stood tall, its silver glow strong once more. You risked everything, Daniel said quietly. The elder placed a hand on his shoulder, its voice soft but powerful. No, Daniel, you gave everything. I only spoke the truth. The station grew silent again. But the silence was no longer empty. It was filled with something new. A beginning, a spark, a recognition. Daniel had defied the council and survived. The elder had revealed its voice and its power. Together, they had broken a law older than memory, and in its place they had planted something greater. Hope, and the station was quiet again, but it no longer felt lonely. The elder stood tall now, its body glowing with renewed strength, the machine on its chest pulsing in harmony with every breath. Daniel leaned against the wall exhausted, his clothes soaked with sweat and oil. He had fought with tools instead of weapons, with kindness instead of orders, and somehow, against all odds, he had won. The soldiers were gone, but their words lingered like shadows. The council does not forgive. Daniel knew the danger was not over somewhere in the stars. Powerful voices would argue his fate. To them, he was a rebel, a criminal who broke the oldest law. But to the elder beside him, he was something else entirely. A savior. The alien turned toward him, its silver eyes steady. You do not understand the weight of what you have done, it said. Daniel gave a tired smile. I saved a life. That's all. The elder shook its head, its voice low but certain. No. You changed how the galaxy must see your kind. The words sank into Daniel like stone into deep water. Humans had always been the youngest species at the table of the stars, viewed as reckless, emotional, too fragile to be trusted with great matters. The council tolerated them but never respected them. One act of compassion could not change centuries of prejudice, could it? Daniel doubted it, but the elder's gaze told a different story. We are many, the elder said softly. My voice is old, my influence long, and my people listen when I speak. I will tell them what you did. I will tell them that one human broke the chains of law with the strength of kindness. It reached out, placing its glowing hand on Daniel's shoulder. And they will listen. Daniel's chest tightened. He was just an engineer, just one man alone on a forgotten station. He had never dreamed of shaping the galaxy, yet now, his act of defiance had rippled far beyond his small world, perhaps far beyond even Earth itself. The days that followed were strange. The elder remained in the station, recovering, its body growing stronger each hour with the machine's steady hum. Daniel repaired the station around them, though every sound seemed sharper, every shadow heavier. He knew the council was watching, waiting, but he also knew something had shifted. The elder spoke often, telling stories of its people, of ancient traditions, of a law meant to preserve dignity but twisted into cruelty, and Daniel listened, his hands busy with tools while his mind carried the weight of their words. Then one cycle later, the stars outside shimmered with the light of dozens of ships. The council had returned, but this time not with soldiers. This time with delegates, with voices, with judgment. Daniel stood in the docking bay as the air filled with strange figures from across the galaxy. Tall ones with crystal skin, short ones with many eyes, beings of fire, beings of shadow, and in the center the council itself, robed in silver, faces hidden, voices blended into one. They came not to kill but to decide. The elder walked forward. Steady and proud, it raised its voice, echoing across the bay. This human defied your law, yes, but he defied it to protect life. Not to destroy it, he broke your rule, but in breaking it, he showed something greater than law. He showed compassion. The council's blended voices rumbled like thunder. The law is the foundation of order. If one breaks it, others will follow, and chaos will rise. The elder lifted its head higher. Then let compassion become part of your order, it declared. Let this human's act stand as proof that kindness is not weakness, but strength. Its glowing hand pointed toward Daniel. This one gave me life when your law demanded silence. Tell me, council, is that chaos or is that hope? The chamber erupted with whispers, alien voices mixing in confusion and awe. No one had ever spoken to the council this way, and no elder had ever defended a human before. The council's light dimmed and brightened as it debated within itself. Minutes felt like hours, silence like fire in Daniel's chest. Finally, the voices returned, heavy and final. This act cannot be erased, nor can it be punished. It will be remembered not as crime, but as recognition. The elder turned. Its eyes shining, a faint smile crossed its face. Daniel blinked in disbelief. Recognition? He whispered. The elder nodded. Yes, human, recognition from this day forward. Your kind will not be seen only as reckless children. They will be seen as beings who value life above law, who carry compassion even when it is forbidden. The council's voices echoed again. Let it be written. The human Daniel has shown what his species is capable of. His act will be marked in the records of the galaxy. His name will be spoken in the halls of law, and his kind will be seen with new eyes. Daniel stood frozen. His breath shallow. He had not sought glory. He had not asked for reward. All he had wanted was to save a life. Yet here he was, a symbol of something greater. The elder stepped closer, resting its glowing hand against his chest. One act of kindness can change the course of stars, it said. And you, Daniel, have done just that. The delegates bowed. The council faded back into the light, and the galaxy shifted quietly like a wheel turning. Daniel returned to his workbench, his tools waiting. He was still an engineer, still a man who fixed broken machines in forgotten corners of space. But now he carried something more. Not power, not wealth, but recognition. Recognition that a single human, with nothing but compassion and courage, could change how the stars themselves saw humanity. The machine hummed, the elder breathed, and the station floated quietly at the edge of the galaxy. Yet Daniel knew the silence would never be the same. It was no longer emptiness, it was the sound of a new beginning.